Catalina Aircraft Company has engineered the amphibious multi-role Orcon to support Marine combat operations in aviation assault roles worldwide. Drawing on the historic legacy of amphibious aviation operations, the Catalina Orcon fills a key role of deploying and keeping Marines on mission. Designed for expanded O-line flight maintenance, the Catalina Orcon is built to sustain the amphibious advantage. Visit catalina-aircraft.com to learn more.
Hey Scuttlebutt listeners, welcome to episode 255. This week we welcome 2nd Lieutenant Steven Ramirez to the Scuttlebutt. Steven is a prior-enlisted officer currently serving as a student at the basic school. But more than anything, he's a reader. Steven started the Semper Read Instagram page to share his love of books beyond just his fellow Marines at his unit, which started as just a small social media page and ended up being followed by the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. His origin story begins with him watching the attacks of 9/11 from across the Hudson River as a kid, to then stepping on the yellow footprints of the PI, to now having come over to the dark side to become an officer. Steven talks to us about Semper Read, the joy he gets from sharing his passion for reading, and what he hopes his efforts will have on his fellow Marines, both personally and professionally. This is episode 255. Hey Scuttlebutt listeners, thank you for joining us and your continued support. I'm Vic, I'm here with Nancy.
Hey Vic, how are you?
I'm doing well, I'm doing real well. I had a little, kind of a large burrito for lunch. It was a large burrito.
This is not where I thought we were going.
Yeah,
like there's way cooler stuff that we could talk about besides your burrito.
Well, but I think it reformed into its original packaging in my stomach.
I don't know what to say. Okay, I'm gonna shift our.
Do you have something better? You have something better than a burrito?
Yes, last night we went to the Sunset Parade. What is the matter with you?
That's true. I took my, as you know, I took Aiden and Noah, our resident gaming experts now, and because Grandma was leaving, I didn't want to just take time away from
listeners.
Grandma.
He means his mother-in-law, who'd been staying with him, was leaving yesterday. That Grandma's leaving is not some kind of
I see what you're doing.
I see what
you're doing there. Yeah, well played. No, that's 100%. No, she's alive and well. She's going to take a flight back to California, and so I didn't want to. I wanted to go to the reception, obviously, and take advantage of the open bar, but I just didn't think that would be cool. Like, hey guys, you got to get in the car. Like, we're on the clock. We only got 90 minutes to take full advantage of free alcohol.
You're such
a
Marine.
Get in the car. So we came to the reception, but luckily we got there in time to see Max Uriarte. I thought his speech was great.
Very good.
Very cool. Very funny. In the way that Max does things, as far as we know. Very much a Max Uriarte sort of speech to the group. I thought it was awesome.
And listeners, if you haven't heard our interview, our conversation with Max, then what do you do? Stop the podcast, pause it.
We'll give you a second.
Go back.
We'll be here when you get back. Yeah.
And then start up again.
Yeah, but thank you. Yeah, I think the past couple times we've been, the weather has not been our friend, and this one
it was
we
perfect.
were fully aligned. It was so great. And then they did the thing with NCOs doing all leadership positions, which I absolutely love. Sergeant Major Ruiz, so that was great.
I don't want to be a jerk, but did you notice where I ended up sitting?
You were flanking JD, friend of the show, Sergeant Major LaHue.
I was in the second row. I was right behind Sergeant Major and Max.
But they stood up a lot, so that cuts into your...
No, it didn't bother me.
Oh, it didn't bother you?
No,
we were in front of the percussion section, so that was tight.
I just felt, and it brought out my inner band mom, because both of my sons were percussionists, so it was like a whole...
It's so good.
Yeah.
If you haven't... If you're in the D.C. area during the summer, every Tuesday they do sunset parades at the... what we call the EOG Memorial, but the Marine Corps War Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And it's free. We we got seats.
Yeah, we did.
We got a
got
shuttle, all the good stuff.
Sorry, I hope we're not making you feel
Yeah,
bad.
but you could just go. You could just go set up a picnic. I mean, I think one of the groups there had like 3 bags of Firehouse subs. Anyhow, it's so good.
Yeah,
just go.
Yeah,
and it's like I said, it's free.
And
they do amazing.
It's just a wonderful thing to see.
Yeah. Well, as we're talking about NCOs, as we're talking about authors, our guest today was a former NCO. Now it came over to the dark side.
Yes, I did.
Lieutenant Steven Ramirez of Semper. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. It is. It is a pleasure for you. No, this is really so. We got a chance to meet at Modern Day Marine. You've been in touch with Nancy for quite some time.
Absolutely.
And thankfully, because I think what you're doing is so great.
Yeah.
I want to dive into that later. Because what I want to do, though, first is I want to sort of talk about your story, sort of what your path to Yellow Footprints was. So, where are you from? Was the Marine Corps always a thing for you, or?
I do think that the Marine Corps was always a thing for me, but I think something that happened kind of solidified that. It was around September 11, actually. I lived across the Hudson River.
No way.
From
Wow.
the World Trade Center. And, I was used to seeing the World Trade Center all the
Yeah.
time. So I remember that day, and a lot of things happened. A lot of things happened fast. And then they came to pick us up. And then, we were kids, so we were just like, let's go to the Hudson River to see what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we see is, smoke coming out. And then that's when one of the towers fell.
Oh,
And
wow.
then it was like,
Holy crap.
it was
How old were
something-
you at the time?
I was, I think 6 or 7.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
That must be one of your earliest memories.
And what's crazy is that there's a photo of this, like right in the background is the towers falling. And as a kid, I'm smiling, but as a kid, you really don't know what's happening. And I feel like once I got home and I started watching the news and just playing, day after day, that's when I realized like how bad it really was. But I do remember seeing there was a Marine, a reservist Marine, and he had his uniform in his trunk. So when he saw all that happening, he went to the towers. And I remember seeing that individual. I should do a better job and get his name. But, yeah, they posted him. He was helping a lot with rescuing some of the victims. But, yeah, I think that was one of the motivating factors. And after that, I wanted to be a Marine. I wanted to be a Marine officer first, but midway into college, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go become a Marine. And then once that happened.
Your recruiter's dream.
Oh, absolutely. I went
salivating.
Yeah, I went to my recruiter, and he was showing me the placards, right? And I was just
With
like.
the benefit tag?
Yeah, and I was just like, hey. I'm ready to sign.
Yeah.
You don't have to show. You don't have to show me any of
Let me
that.
stop you
I'm
there,
ready to sign. So, he was happy, but yeah.
And how this is, I always need to know this. And then what was the reaction and response from your family when you did that?
Well, my mom, she knew that I wanted to become a Marine, but she was just like, hey, you know what? Go to college, and if you don't like college, you go to the Marines. I liked college. Right, but I also wanted to be a Marine, so I knew my mom would be opposed to it. So what I ended up doing is I went to the recruiter's office, signed the contract. Once the contract was signed, I went home and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I have to tell you something." And she's like, "What?" And then I'm just like, "Hey, I joined the Marines. Well, I signed up to go to boot camp, and I'm leaving in a couple of months." She was like, pendejo, she was like hitting me. I'm like, come on. But the funny thing is, once we got to graduation,
family day. Right?
My mom was, proud. She was showing people pictures of me. I was just like, you see? And you didn't want me to become a Marine?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So when you get down to Paris Island, you actually do step on the Yellow Footprints. So what were you like, shit, I made a terrible mistake.
You know what? I've heard stories, but it definitely did not compare. I just feel that it was definitely a culture shock for me. But I feel that in boot camp, I kind of excelled because I was a track runner. I did cross country, and I just liked that physical stuff. So, you know, I was Ironman for the company that I was initially with. Unfortunately, I had the flu, and then like really bad. And this was right before we were going to the Crucible, and like I was, you know, coughing up blood.
Oh, damn,
that's bad.
Yeah, and so we were doing the PFT, and I just blacked out. And I was getting up, I blacked out maybe for like a second, and I got up, and this was like I want to say 700 meters from the like finish line for the PFT. I was getting up, and my kill hat, he was like, "No, stay down," and I was just like. And the corpsman came, they took me to the hospital, and when they found out, they were just like, hey, this is stupid, because if you would have went to the Crucible, you could have died, you know, because you're not getting enough sustenance. So they had a point, but for me it sucked because I had to stay in Paris Island for another month. So
was it summertime? It
was summertime.
Okay.
I think the only benefit was there were books.
Oh,
here we go.
There were books. Yeah. That's where the books come in.
Segue.
Yeah.
Man.
So there were books, and that's actually the first time I read Brute, which is about General Victor H. Krulak.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Were you were books a thing for you? Like, were you always immersed in books as a kid, or was this really your first time falling in love with it?
I had kind of dabbled with books. I had to read a lot when I was in college, so I was just like, you know, maybe I should read more books. I feel that the book that actually got me into reading was actually Stephen Pressfield's Gates of Fire.
Yes.
Once I read that, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a novel, but it was just like, it was so amazing, and I was just like, I need to read more
I was
books like this.
Is this history?
Yeah.
Was he there?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly, yeah. Oh, I was so impressed, and then after that, you know, book after book after book, I just started reading more, and, you know, as someone that's coming into this profession, I do think it's important that you do read.
Yeah. So, all right, so you spend an extra 4 weeks at the PI.
Yes.
Then what MOS did you come out with?
0341.
Okay.
Mortarman.
So then SOI, then where did you hit the fleet?
So I didn't go to the fleet. I'm a career reservist.
Okay.
I went to Gulf 225.
Okay.
And that's in New Jersey, Picatinny Arsenal.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. And then back to college then at that point, or?
Some college and work. Kind of forgot that dream of becoming an officer, you know, and then eventually I left. Like, I didn't complete school, and because I was just like, I'm a Marine, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
I don't need
Nailed
school.
it.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Okay. And then so what brought you over then to be in a zero?
So I think what brought me over was when we went to our deployment to Afghanistan. This was 2018, 2019.
Okay.
Our base got attacked like really bad. It was like a platoon-sized element of Taliban, and they attacked the Afghan side of the base first, and then they tried to attack our side. And I was on post that night, so you know we were catching, you know, a whole bunch of rounds from post 6 was to my left, post 8 was to my right. I was post 7. And yeah, we got hit pretty bad. Post 6 was getting machine gun fired like straight into his post. There were 3 dudes, Talibans, under a truck that were shooting at me, and then there were a couple others. But yeah, it was a really close call.
You're like, damn, I should be an officer. I'd be in that COC instead of here on post.
You know, possibly. Yeah. You know what? I do say this. I did see a threat. You know, there were Taliban. After my initial engagement, there were 3 guys that were coming towards my post. And the reason I had stopped firing was because I was told, hey, you're shooting at friendlies, which at that moment it was like,
Yeah.
you know, the fog of war.
Mhm.
You didn't know what was happening. They thought that may have been an ANA group, but it wasn't. So I stopped firing, and out of curiosity, you know, I zoomed in with the camera that we had on the post, and what I saw, it terrorized me, because I saw 3 guys, AK-47s, and the second one had 3 RPG rocket launchers just on his pack. And when I saw that, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna die. And you know, I was just like, I'm gonna do what I can, and I beat them to it. You know, the situation really sucked, because it was like a whole bunch of Humvees, so they had a lot of places to hide behind. But luckily, I caught them first, and then they ended up running into the warehouse, which was adjacent to my post, and they fired from there. But eventually, everything was finished after 3 days. So they dropped like 3 500-pound bombs.
Damn.
Because it was a bomb shelter. But coming back to that post, I realized something. Like, there were, like, you know, rounds, like holes where they were aiming at. I'm short, so they were aiming way too high. And, you know, at that moment, I'm like, thank you, God, I'm short. You know, that my entire life, I'm just like, oh, I wish I was tall, you know. Yeah. And at this moment, I'm just like, oh, you know what? I'm glad that I'm short. You know, I had to, like, tippy-toe to get to the 240. But, you know, I feel that at that moment, I was just like, I could have died in this situation. Mm-hmm. Did I accomplish all the things that I wanted to in life? Did I finish school? No. Did I become a Marine officer? No. You know, absolutely not. You know, and like the list goes on dreams that I had let go. So when I came back, I think a month into when I came back, I moved to Arizona, and I went to Arizona State University. And, you know, that's where I started getting more into reading. I was in charge of a younger group with Bulk Fuel Charlie over there in I forget the name of the town, but I wanted to share something with them, and I feel that what I could share was books. You know, like, there's a lot of knowledge that can be received from those books, and you don't have to go through some of the things that they have.
Right.
So, you know, I thought it was important. So I was just like, you know, just asking them for ideas, like, hey, if I were to recommend these books, you know, what would be the best way to interact with you guys? And then they're just like, hey, maybe you should do an Instagram or something like that, you know, social media platform. And I was just like, I don't know. I'm like, I'll try. So, you know, I started slowly, you know, doing book recommendations, and then later on, you know, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, he follows me, and I'm just
Is
like,
that crazy?
Yeah. The Commandant starts following me, and I was just like, whoa.
Awesome.
You know, the Marine Corps Reserves official page, they repost some of the books that I'm putting out, and I'm just like, whoa, this is insane. So, you know, something that started off small, you know, something for me to share with my guys, ended up becoming something bigger. Like, hey, you know, these are books that Marines should be reading.
Yeah.
And a lot of them can relate to some of these things. So, you know, start giving us more books, and that's exactly what happened.
So good, man.
And what year did you start your Instagram account?
I started in 2023.
Okay. And then, so while you were on deployment, I know one of the, I know for me, other Marines that I've been in contact with, even if they're not big readers, deployment generally leads folks to reading books, even if it's the same damn book. But, you know, I mean, when you're out on an OP or up in post, you know, you just leave, you read the little bit, then you just leave the shit up there for the next guy. Or even you talk about it while you're doing your changeover, like, oh, dude, you got chapter 13, man, don't miss it.
Yep.
Or whatever. Was that kind of the same thing? Like, did you find that there was that sort of love for it there?
I think there was.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think what led to Semper Reads was, you know, just small things. It was kind of like hinting at me to do these things. I think it was my platoon commander. One day he saw me reading a book. I was kind of like separated from the group, and I was just reading, and then he told me something, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. He was just like, hey, I want you to read this book, but I want you to share the knowledge of it with the guys. And I was just like, that that is interesting, because I was just like, I'm just reading for me. So, little sparks.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was in Afghanistan, I had fleeted up the effect cell OIC, went home on emergency leave and never came back. And I was in Marja, and then they plussed me up. Anyhow, so I was going through the battle space. So I was in Garmser doing, I don't know, whatever thing, getting an intel update from them, boots on the ground sort of thing. And then we got hit with this like insane sandstorm for like 3 days. So I was stuck in Garmser. All I had was the clothes on my back, obviously all of my combat gear, and the damn copy of one of the one of the Game of Thrones books. I forget which one it was, and I hadn't really started it yet.
Yeah.
And I remember by the time, like, it was like day 2 of the sandstorm, I actually didn't want the damn thing to be over because all I was doing, I didn't really know anybody in Garmser, so I was just sitting in my like little bunk bed thing, reading this damn book, and I like would miss chow sometimes, I miss PT sometimes. I just couldn't put it down. I'm like, hey, this sandstorm goes another couple days. I'm okay with it. Like, so anyways, I don't know. It's just stupid story. I
Books can do that.
Go-
I mean,
that's
I've
the
never
story.
been
Don't worry about it.
stuck in a sandstorm in Garmser,
Yeah.
but I have experienced similar things where it's like, yeah, I don't really care what's happening
Yeah.
in the world outside because
Absolutely.
I'm into this book now and I'm not putting it down.
But it's such great insight though, because we have those sort of stories, but I'd never thought that kind of passion or that love for it I should then be sharing with.
Sure,
It just sort of, when you see somebody else who also feels that way, you're like, oh, hey, yeah, cool.
yeah.
But you don't, I never would have thought to like try to instill that love or try to ignite that spark. You usually see someone who's, flame is already.
But I
Yeah,
bet you
yeah.
do that with your boys.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, that's, by law, I kind of have to do that.
Well, you don't have to,
Yeah,
but
I guess not. So, all right, so you start.
wait a minute. I want to back up a little bit because we skipped over something important that I found out about you during Modern Day Marine.
Okay.
You confessed it. You
All
confessed
right.
it.
Oh, no.
That at you went through boot camp with friend of the show.
Yes, Mike Plunkett.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I think he was actually, once I went back, I wasn't sick anymore. I went into his platoon, and
Oh my gosh,
that's where we
that
met
is
each
so
other.
funny.
Yeah.
So wait, he's also was drilling up in Jersey,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Not same unit though.
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
But that's probably why the algorithms sent your account my way because
Absolutely, yeah.
Plunkett's the key.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and we talked about this before we started recording, but you've got to one-up him. So now he's done an interview and he's done a literary lethality. So now you're on the interview Sunday. You got to do literary lethality, and you called out doing First to Fight.
First to Fight. Yes.
Okay, so we're going to get you back on and do a review of First to Fight.
All right.
You heard it here
End
first,
scene.
folks.
Okay.
Dramatic music in the background.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so then you are at, you said Charlie Company Bulk Fuel, and
Yes.
so now you're starting to gain a following.
Yes.
What's next? Like, are you obviously you're a little bit surprised by amount of attention that this is getting.
I definitely am, yes.
But it starts leading into like sort of the dominoes start to fall then at this point, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel that, a few authors that were coming out with books, they were just like, hey, I had this book. It's coming out. Maybe you should give us a review. And I'm just like, absolutely. And that's the thing, I don't do reviews for money.
Right.
I do it because of the love that I have for the organization. And also, I do feel that I owe it to my Marine brothers if I could help them in any way that I can, I'm going to do it. So that's the way that I help them, by giving reviews, by posting, reposting their books, and it's been a good thing,
Is there a genre that you're particularly keen on, or are you taking all comers?
No, I take in anything that was written by a Marine, books about Marines. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna do a quick promo. Friend of the show, Olaolu Ogunyemi,
Yes,
just released a new book,
Yeah.
Lead Last.
Lead Last, yes.
Have you
read it? Yes.
You did.
Yes, I actually have.
He's so plugged in. You have no idea, Vic.
So I'm fully behind the.
You know what? I actually have the review for you. So
This guy is
I'm gonna
amazing.
send it.
Cool.
The next segment
Okay.
is gonna be about leading. I have 2 books in mind. So
Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Echodyne's high-fidelity radars for maritime missions ensure expeditionary forces maintain decision advantage from shore to sea. Rapidly scale, evolve, and maneuver. Echodyne is trusted by defense organizations worldwide. Learn more at echodyne.com.
And now we're back.
Well, so I don't know if you remember this, Vic, but was it maybe 2 years ago? First Sergeant McGroarty Hunter invited us over to hear Elliot Ackerman speak to.
Right.
Okay. And during the question answer period, I hear somebody say, I
remember this.
Yeah,
actually,
and it was you.
yeah,
And I
it was
just like,
it was me. Yeah.
oh my God. I had no idea that you were here local.
Yes.
I'd been following your account and, hitting that like button
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this guy is amazing. This is, anyway,
Yeah.
there you were, a real person. And
Yeah.
I had the biggest, I probably embarrassed you. I had a whole geek out moment. Like, we got to go talk to him. We got to go talk to him. Forget Elliot Ackerman. Yeah, whatever. We got to go talk to him.
Yeah, no, that was really cool, actually. So when does this then? So you mentioned the platoon commander sort of planted the seed with you. When does this start to take on a more philanthropic approach? Like, are you still kind of in the I can't believe people are following, or I guess when did it start to evolve into something more where you started to try to give now?
Yeah, I feel that when it was started, I really didn't care much about the following. I think it was more so I want to share as much books as I can, because I feel that something that happens is these books come out and these are very niche, so you have either most people that read Marine Corps affiliated books are either Marines or family members of Marines or someone who wanted to be in the military, but they
Right.
didn't get the chance. So they're the ones that read that, and there's not that connection with kind of the literary world. And I feel that there are Marines that are multiple things. They're authors, they're artists, singers, and stuff like that. They're talented. So I feel that sometimes great books, they go unseen.
Yeah.
And I feel that, it was my duty to help promote those books, show people, hey, these are really great, quotes. And I share excerpts. I feel like I share those excerpts that kind of reach to my soul.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, wow. This, I feel that not only did it hit me, it may be something that, my audience may be able to relate to. So that's...
And from a literary perspective, they're just as worthy as anything else. But I can definitely see your point and agree with you that they're overlooked by, sort of mainstream book snobs.
Absolutely, yeah.
And to a certain degree, I know I have done it, and we talked about it recently when we sat down with Casey Tellison to talk about with the Old Breed. I had this preconceived notion in my mind of what it was, and when I actually read it and realized what a beautiful literary work it is, I was, kind of ashamed of myself.
Yeah,
for
and I'm going to throw some shade at the industry, but a lot of that comes from the fact that so much of mainstream publication and the actual book companies themselves and the publishers themselves, they put out stuff that's going to try to make money. So
Absolutely,
you get
Mm-hmm.
the, oh, fucking there I was, man. Or a task force commander,
Yep.
you know, that did this and that. And, you know, there's this joke that, like, you know, one of the things that, like, Navy SEALs
Yes.
have on their pre-deployment checklist is get that book
Yeah,
deal.
we were actually talking about that with Adam Walker.
Yeah. And so, so there is that stigma, and it's I don't want to say self-imposed, but the publishing world has created that stigma
That's
because it
true,
sells
yeah.
quick,
It does.
and there's not a ton of depth. It's most of those stories are pretty two-dimensional.
And it's easy entry for somebody, because let's face it, most of America really, in my opinion, does not really fully understand or understand on any
Right.
true level what it means to be in the military.
When there's a shit ton of combat
No,
voyeurism, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I feel that because of Semper Reads, I've been able to reach to some of those individuals, you know, and they're just like, wow, we didn't know that you guys,
Yeah.
you know, did this or felt this type of way or read books, you know, and I feel that kind of opened their eyes and they were just like, you know, maybe I want to read this book.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't. I mean, we could just go on with some of the guests we've had on the show, but I mean, they're on this. We brought them on for a reason. Is their books were like really substantial pieces of art,
Yes.
and and these are coming from machine gunners.
Yeah.
You know, and
Mike Plunkett.
right
right there. I read his book and I was just like,
Casey Tellison.
I was like, man, yeah, Casey.
In
yep.
his mind, he's Animal Mother, but
Yes.
on the page, you know, he's fucking Hemingway. Like it was
Yep.
his prose is unbelievable.
controversial. He's better than Hemingway. I'm not a fan of Hemingway.
Well, fair enough then. Casey Tellison is Casey Tellison. Yeah, I mean, it's just a beautiful artist. Anyhow, so and I appreciate though that you have again. So much of reading has its sort of individuality to it because it is just you and the artist and the work that you're holding, or not to kindling or whatever it is, but you have their work, and so it's very intimate between you and. But you're now sharing that, and I think I really want to applaud your sort of vision on wanting to get that out there and try to light that fire in other people, because it isn't something that is like, even though you mentioned like some of the topics may be niche, the human experience isn't.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I think we can all just, even if you're not necessarily like doing combat voyeurism, but I mean, you are experiencing someone's life in perspective in a way that you really can't do.
That's true, yeah.
Even in the visual art, in a visual art format, right? Because you don't get that interiority, you don't get that long form perspective.
He's going deep.
I hurt myself there. I had to take a second.
Vic has an MFA. Can you tell? Like, wait a minute. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
So what I guess now that you got a real good head of steam, you know, you got in 3 years into it. What do you see happening? What's your plan now?
Well, I feel that continuing helping authors, but I also want to give back a little bit more to, you know, stuff like Toys for Tots literary program, or, you know, any like
So you're looking for partnerships?
yeah, like partnerships,
Okay.
just helping them out, you know, maybe connect the authors with those organizations, or, you know, with units to you know, to provide those type of books, because I do feel that it's important for us. I mean, General Mattis, he said it best. He said that he had never made a decision while he was in combat. The decisions he made were based off of 40 years of studying and reading.
Yeah.
And based off of those things, he kind of, you know, put together the things that he needed to do to approach that situation.
Yeah, talk about an avid reader.
And shameless
Yep.
plug, the Marine Corps Association has our unit library
Yep.
program. You can read more about that, how how to participate, how to get books for your unit, or donors, how to donate in the August issue of Leatherneck.
And also, shameless plug, if you participate in the TDG contest, if you write up a TDG, part of the prize packages are books.
Books.
Yeah. So,
Win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win. Double tapping it.
So what are you reading right now?
So right now, I am finishing up Dark Horse. I don't know
Okay.
if it's about a Marine sniper. He was in Iraq, and he was the one that got the sniper that was taken by Juba. So Juba was this notorious sniper that was over there at the time, and he had killed the sniper group. I think it was like 4 snipers, and yeah, he really worded everything like just amazingly, and he returned the rifle, and I do feel that that's history. You know, he's sharing that piece of history that a lot of people didn't know. You know, I've heard of the snipers that they were ambushed in their where they were staying at, but you know, I just didn't know that much of it or like what ended up happening. But once I started reading his book, you know, I'm still finishing it up. It's really good.
Yeah, all right.
That's awesome.
It's really
Cool.
good. I think it should be in next year's Commandant's reading.
Okay.
list.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's a pretty strong endorsement.
Yeah, no, that is for real.
Do you ever start reading a book and then do you ever have any that you don't finish where you're like, this is just not?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You know what?
I struggle with when to know.
I do feel
Looking
that.
for advice.
I do feel that sometimes the book reaches out to you, right? So sometimes you may read it and then you just let it go. You know, that you've given it its moment and you'll come back to it in the right moment. And I feel like that's happened with me with a lot of books. You know, I don't read it, or you know, I get halfway into it and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna jump onto something else.
Yeah.
And then when I come back into it, you know, it speaks to me differently.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I feel that I do jump a lot between books. You know, I read physical books. I also have this setting on my phone that reads PDFs. So whenever I'm like working on the computer or running, I listen to a book. And yeah, that's how I get a lot
That's
of.
how you read so many books. Okay.
Yeah,
exactly.
when I
Exactly.
was going through grad school, you know, because where I live I went to American University. It's probably like 13 miles as a crow flies, but because most of my classes were in the evening, I had to battle through DC traffic. Sometimes it'd take like an hour and a half to get.
That is rough.
It was, and most times it was like 45 minutes. And so there was so much wasted time. And so what I would do is I would get the book also. So I'd get the book and then I would get the audio version and then, you know, read and then listen to it in the car and then go back and then look and see like, well, how was the author playing with the form now that I've heard the words? Let me see what they were doing with the words and then go back. So I was having to double tap. But I mean, I couldn't like just waste you know, that much time when I've got like
Exactly.
1,000 pages to read a week or something. You know, so anyhow.
I'm proud of you, Vic.
Hey, thank you. Great. That's why I brought it up.
Do you read non-military stuff? Do you read any just?
So I do sometimes, but I feel that sometimes I do get a bit invested in, you know, Marine Corps specific stuff.
And there's so much out there right now.
There's
I mean,
so many.
That's why we brought book reviews back into Leatherneck. We had gotten rid of the book reviews maybe 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't really remember
There's
when.
so many books. There's so many great,
And they're great.
great books that I feel that, you know, they should be getting more, you know, more attention, because it doesn't only speak to, you know, just Marine stuff. It speaks to, like you said, human stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
and also following your account, I could see how much demand there was for knowing more about the new books that are that are
Yeah,
out
like you
there
had a
right
really
now.
outstanding book review recently, right, on Double Knot by Matt Caltrider.
Yeah, I wonder who wrote that, Vic.
I missed it. I just saw that it was on in the pages.
Vic wrote the review, in case you're wondering.
I kind of
Did you
gathered
kind of
that.
pick
Yeah,
up
yeah.
on that? Yeah. He's Mr. Subtle. Now I'm putting you on the spot because it was a beautifully written review.
Oh,
and,
thanks.
Mac's book is so terrific,
It is
and
so
you
great.
wrote a great review of it.
Thanks. Yeah, I got a couple more. I think I got a. Do I owe you Ender's Game? Did I say that?
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
No.
I owe you some more. yeah.
Whatever reviews you want to write, I will take.
Done.
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay. We'll talk.
that
We'll
ish.
talk
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
later.
yeah, yeah.
We'll talk later.
Talk offline.
Yeah.
So thank you again so much for coming in and thank you for your passion on this and for sharing everything. I guess my last question before the coup de grace question is, what has this done for your other sort of media consumption or your entertainment value? So like for like when you watch movies, for example, especially movies that are based on books, does it sort of change how you view things, or are you able to sort of take the medium and for what they are?
Yeah, I kind of, I feel that when you read a book, if I read this book, you may not see it the same way that I see it, right? And I feel that sometimes those interpretations are brought differently to the screen. So yeah, I mean, I respect both.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that are based off of books that is just like,
yeah, it shares the title only.
It's not that good, but I give it a chance at least.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
And before I ask my big question, what's after you finish what you're currently reading, what's next on the reading list for you?
So I have a couple of I'm still on my World War I, reading
Adventure.
void.
Yeah.
I feel like I just went into a void and I'm just like World War I, and I'm reading a whole bunch of World War I. But there was one book that I've never seen. It's about General Roy Geiger.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought that book, so I'm waiting for it. Yes.
That
But-
anticipation of waiting for the
Yeah,
book.
that one, and also I want to shout them out. I don't know if you've heard of Ortiz's War.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Ortiz's War.
I just got the review copy yesterday,
Yeah,
so
okay.
When I first heard of Peter Ortiz through another book, and I was just fascinated with this guy. I was just like, wow, he's in the French Foreign Legion. He leaves. He gets he's in a ship. It gets sunk by a sub. He swims, and then he goes to the United States, and he's just like, hey, I want to fight for the U.S. since they had first gone into the war. So then, he joins the Marines as an enlisted, and then, they're just like, hey, man, this guy he's insane. He's doing all these things. He's mentoring all the guys. Why don't we make him an instructor? And then, it just keeps on going, and then he ends up becoming an OSS operative. And yeah, it's just thing after thing. I don't want to ruin what's gonna happen.
Was he a polyglot too? Like, didn't he speak a bunch of languages?
So he spoke French, German,
that's
English.
a big word, Vic.
I think I don't know Spanish. I'm not gonna say it.
One of the book's author is gonna come on Scuttlebutt. I just have to
Okay,
put a date on the
no.
calendar.
Breaking news.
Yeah,
Yes,
awesome.
yes.
Yes.
So, do you have a copy of it? Are you?
I don't have a copy yet. I just finished speaking to them. So they offered a rare opportunity that I haven't done, but they want to do a kind of a sweepstakes for the followers.
Awesome.
And they're sending me 3 books. So, once I get it, I'm going to fix up a post and drop it, and I'll definitely
really
share
cool.
with you guys.
Sweet.
That's
And
really cool.
Some of our followers are going to get Ortiz's War. Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
That's awesome.
What a great gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one too, but I refuse to take it home from my desk here at work until I finish the book I'm currently reading.
Yes.
Because I've already put that one down and picked it back up and put,
We
2 or
believe
3
in you,
times.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Well, I just got Adam Walker's.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
oh, I
I've
need
gotta
I need to
dive
get
into
that.
that.
I
And
definitely
then,
need to get it.
Okay.
I will
I got
say
you.
I've been
Yeah? I
got you.
supporting
Yeah, yeah.
libraries lately.
Perfect.
It's been my thing rather than, sort of paying for our, paying into our oligarch overlords. I've been going into the library system, but the problem is if you don't read quickly and it's a popular book.
That's true.
So, like, I'm on chapter 19 of the book that I had to get back on the waiting list to try to finish it. So that was a bummer.
Have you tried Libby?
Yes, I have. Yeah. So we talked
Yes,
about Internet
yes,
Archive
yes.
and Libby. Yeah.
Internet Archive, Libby.
Yeah.
Going to your local library or
yeah.
Reaching out to Semper Read.
Yeah, as,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
homeschoolers, my wife is plugged into all of those things because it gets expensive. trying
Oh,
to
absolutely. It
shape young minds.
I feel that I'm humbled because I used to spend my money to get books.
Yes.
I think it's valid to invest in yourself that way.
Yeah.
So I would do it, just because I wanted to, and now I get books, for free, and I'm just like, whoa.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
it's just like
amazing, right?
right now I have like a huge TBR list, a pile like right next to my bed, and I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I want to read it, and then my wife is looking at me like, are you sure you want to do that?
I was actually messaging back and forth with Casey Tellison about this, that if I could go back in time and tell 12-year-old me that not just publishers were going to send me free books, but authors would send me their books or bring me their books. It could have changed all my teen years. Like the swagger I would have had. I would have been unstoppable. My first job in college, wasn't my first job. My college job was at a Walden Books in a mall, and we got to check out books from the store like a library. They encouraged us to check things out, and also we paid wholesale for the books.
Okay.
So
That's a cool program.
yeah, I loved it. But maybe that's why Walden Books went
Good
out
on
of
business. Yeah.
Maybe it
Awesome
wasn't
for
a
the
good-
community. It's
yeah.
a terrible business model.
Well, it's just for the employees,
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you the big, the big question. Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm ready for it.
You ready for
it?
What's
Give me
your,
a book.
what was your best day in the Marine Corps so far?
My best day in the Marine Corps?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a good question.
It is a good question.
Thank you. And scene.
That's right.
You know what? I feel that my best day in the Marine Corps has been, when people reach out to me and they're just like, hey, I ended up finding my father's story in this book because you recommended it. And
Wow.
when they say that, I'm just like, wow, I don't even know what to say because I'm just like, I that wasn't the intention. I'm glad that I could do that, that I could connect, not only people with books, but like people with their family members that, they really don't hear of. So, yeah, I think that was my, like, greatest day. I was just like, you know what? It is something bigger than me. And, I'm going to reference back to Stephen Pressfield. I feel that what he said that when we write stories or tell stories, we're just vessels for that story. That story is, part of creation, part of the source. And I feel that sometimes, those vessels need smaller vessels. I consider me, 5'2", a 5'2" vessel, where I have the ability to share these stories. And from sharing those stories, it just becomes a ripple effect. People hear about this book, then they want to share that book with their friends and their friends and their friends. And I feel that we have a strong community, and we should, embrace that in all aspects, aside from just from work, at work. But like if you have talents, support your friend.
Yeah.
If
I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah,
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Steven, thank you so much for coming in. Man, we are
appreciate
such
it.
fans of what you do. Keep it up. And I'm looking forward to collaborating more and then having you
Absolutely.
back in the studio to talk some Brute Krulak.
Oh yes.
All right.
I will be
All right.
here.
Awesome. Scuttlebutt is a production of the Marine Corps Association. You have heard the voices or contributions from Major Vic Rubel, USMC retired, Nancy Litchman, William Truding, and our guest. Ty Frazier is the editor, sound engineer, and technical producer. The Marine Corps Association is not an agency of the U.S. government. The opinions expressed in this episode are the personal views of the participants and do not reflect the official position of the United States Marine Corps, the Department of Defense, or the Marine Corps Association.